Hello. How is everybody this fine Monday evening, April 21st? Oh my gosh, it's almost the end of the month. Hope everybody had a wonderful Easter and a wonderful Passover. And if you are new here, my name is Jackie Baker. This is your live weekly dose of real estate reality where we talk about all things real estate. And yeah, prices are falling. What? So Zillow, they adjusted their forecast again. This is like the third time this year, and it's only April. Like, what the heck? So yeah, so now they're saying they're predicting prices are going to fall by 1.7% between now and I believe March or April of next year. So yeah, all right. Good on Zillow. Now they're like catching up. So anyway, we're going to talk about that tonight. I am solo tonight. Get me all to yourselves. And yeah, let's talk about these articles and get right into it. Let me see here. Also, before I forget, if you have a win, meaning that if you just got your offer accepted on a home, you're under contract, you just closed on a home, please share, put it in the comments. I want to hear about it and I want to celebrate that because everyone is feeling like so like defeated. They're not going to get a house. It's impossible. People are still buying houses. It's happening. So please share your wins. I want to hear about it. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Oh my. Okay. Here we go. Let me make it bigger so everybody can see. All right. Zillow turns full-blown housing market bear. Just look at its new forecast. Zillow projects that U.S. home prices will fall 1.7% between March of 25 and March of 26. Last month, Zillow economists still thought prices would rise this year. You may have seen my video. I did it was last month where I talked about how they adjusted their forecast like for the second time. Now this is the third time. All right. Once again, Zillow has downgraded its 12-month forecast for national home prices. On Wednesday, Zillow economists published their updated forecast model projecting that U.S. home prices, as measured by the Zillow Home Value Index, will fall 1.7% between March of 25 and March of 26. Back in March, Zillow downgraded its 12-month outlook for U.S. home prices to 0.8%. In February, Zillow downgraded its 12-month outlook to 1.1%. And at the start of the year in January, Zillow's 12-month national home price forecast was up to 2.9%. Why does Zillow keep downgrading its national home price outlook? The rise in active listings is fueling softer price growth as greater supply provides more options and more bargaining power for buyers. Potential buyers are opting to remain renters for longer as affordability challenges suppress demand for home purchases. Essentially, Zillow thinks strained housing affordability caused by U.S. home prices rising over 40% during the pandemic housing boom and mortgage rates spiking from 3 to 6% in 2022 is weighing on price growth. According to Zillow's home price model, the listing site also believes that weakening and softening housing markets across the Sun Belt will weigh on nationally aggregated home prices this year. Among the 300 largest U.S. metro area housing markets, Zillow expects the strong home price appreciation between March 25 and March 26 to occur in these 10 areas. Number one, Atlantic City is going to see an increase of 2.4%. Are you kidding me? Yeah, for real. Kingston, New York, they're seeing an increase of 1.9%. Rochester, New York, 1.8%. Knoxville, Tennessee is 1.7%. Torrington, Connecticut, 1.6% increase. Bangor, Maine, 1.5%. Syracuse, 1.4%. Vinland, New Jersey, 1.4%. Concord, New Hampshire, 1.3%. Norwich, increase of 1.2%. Now, in that same time frame, Zillow expects the weakest home price appreciation to occur in these 10 areas. Houma, Louisiana, 10.1% decrease in prices. Lake Charles, 8.9% decrease. New Orleans, 7.6%. Oh my God, most of these are in Louisiana. Lafayette, 7.5%. Shreveport, 7%. Alexandria, 7%. Beaumont, Texas, 6.6%. Odessa 6.3, Midland, Texas 5.7, and Monroe, Louisiana at 5.5%. This is just insane, guys. So I think we're going to see more of these reductions happening across the country. It's just look, we knew this was going to happen, right? These prices are not sustainable. But so on the flip side of that, I'm based here in New Jersey, and I have to share this with you guys. So now Zillow's saying this, right? Nationally, prices are going to come down. And now I know they had 2 markets in New Jersey saying that they were going to have price appreciation next year, Atlantic City and Vinland. Now those are in South Jersey. Okay, those of you who are in New Jersey, you're going to totally get a kick out of this one. There was actually an article done about Bergen County. And now this is the market I serve. It says here, the pandemic market chaos continues in Bergen County. The area's desirability combined with tight inventory means buyers are still engaged in bidding wars and waiving inspections in this New Jersey county. You hear me talk about this every week. Here's the proof right here. This is insane what's going on here in Bergen County. Just look at some of the data here. Right here, it says Housing Wire data shows that the 90-day average median list price has jumped to $979,999, up nearly $80,000 compared to a year ago, and up $250,000 from April of 2020. This is the state of the Bergen County housing market. So you guys hear me talk about it and you think I'm nuts? This is true. Look at this. Just this past weekend, Compass agent Annie Messakian saw one of her listings go under contract for $200,000 over asking. The home is in Ridgewood. We listed it for $899. I had over 200 appointments to see it over the weekend from Thursday evening until Sunday. I think we got 15 offers in total. It was crazy. That level is something I would see during the pandemic market. So I had to share this with you guys because I thought this is so interesting compared to what Zillow was saying, not here in New Jersey. And I don't think Jersey's going to settle down anytime soon, especially here in Bergen County. So that I just had to share that with you guys because I could talk about it every week. And my buddy David Matney sent me this article, and I'm like, I have to share this. I had to tell you guys about this. So May Yank, I'm about to close on a house I'm in touching. Congratulations. Good for you. I love the emoji. Closing this Friday as a seller in Northeast Texas. Franklin, congratulations. Thank you for sharing that. This is exciting. Hello. Oh, it's so great to see you all back. Hey, Charlton. Several houses around me in Pennsylvania not selling, reduced last week, 10K, still not moving, no open house shows. Charlton, I forget, what part of PA are you in? I'd like to know that because I think around Philly it's still pretty hot. Mrs. H, question. 2 points saw FHA offering 0 down, 600 credit score to buy. I'm assuming you're saying to buy now. Have you seen that yet? Also, can a buyer get the deposit back at closing? Can you buy FHA again? So you're saying you heard, okay. So 0 down, 600 credit. FHA 0 down. I always thought it was 3.5% down, unless there's like a special program. Or like, yeah, this must be some type of special program. Have you seen it yet? Also, can a buyer get their deposit back at closing? Typically, well, no. Well, I got to think this through. Typically, no, you can't. Like when you're putting a deposit down, that's actually going towards your total down payment, and then you're financing the rest. But if it's a 0 down loan, like a VA loan, sometimes what people will do, they'll put a small deposit down, say $10,000, $15,000 to show they have skin in the game, that they're serious. But if it's a 0 down loan, you can't, obviously you're not putting anything down. So at closing, that so-called deposit, you would get returned back to you. So I hope that makes sense. Oh, you're in Hershey. Wow, that's interesting, Charlton. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. We're going to keep an eye on PA. Ella, thanks for being here. Price is still not low enough for me to buy in North Florida. I'm planning to wait till next year. I'm surprised in North Florida, they are coming down a lot. I was talking to somebody, an agent who's near, I think she serves Pensacola. And she sold some new construction around like in the low threes, which, I mean, for new construction, I don't think that's bad at all. But Sandy, I'm in Connecticut and my home value is up beyond double what I paid. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. It's well, you saw Torrington, Connecticut was one of those areas, one of those markets where there's going to see price appreciation over the next year. So here we are again. We're talking about, these prices finally coming down, but it depends on where you are. That's the issue. And, I know some of you here watching, you're from New Jersey and you're frustrated with this market. Believe me, I was out with buyers like this afternoon at like 4:00. I was showing a house and they're feeling it. And we feel like every time a house comes on the market, like we have to get there ASAP to see it before the offers are made. And even then, it's like a lot of these are cash offers too. And that's why, and people are losing out on that. So, hey, Clark, thanks for coming back. Appreciate you being here, my friend. Sellers don't want to come to Realty in Central Florida. Well, they're going to have to come to Realty soon because Florida's kind of hurting right now. I mean, probably a good time to buy. Looking to buy New Jersey and South Carolina. New Jersey's slightly down, but prices are still high. Yeah, I know. And I don't see Jersey changing. I really don't, especially here in Bergen County, for looking at that article and just knowing what's going on right now. So my partner was telling me, I was on the phone with her before I came on tonight, and she was working with the buyer that I brought to her. We're helping her out. And she said that she went to go put an offer in and they didn't even really go to highest and best. I think the seller just took the highest offer that came in and they just ran with it. So by the time she wanted to submit her offer, the agent was like, oh, no, we already went with the highest offer that we got. And yeah, so we're seeing a lot of that too. People don't want to be, sometimes the sellers don't want to be dealing with the bidding wars. Hello, Ghost. Welcome back. Prices need to implode down 50%. I don't disagree with you, Ghost. I don't. I think they should come down 50%. It would be lovely, but then that means a big problem. That means we have a housing crash. Clark says you can use FHA loan again only if you don't currently have a house or you haven't owned a house in the last 3 years. Thank you, Clark. You're like... Clark, you're like my little encyclopedia on the side there. If I can't answer it, I know I can count on you. Hey, Adam. Oh, you're in Outer Banks. Awesome. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. How's the market down in Outer Banks? I'm curious because I hear North Carolina's slowing down a little bit. How's the housing? If you're in Jersey, it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. Anyway, what else do we got here? Okay. They are building like crazy in the Triangle of North Carolina, but the federal-backed science jobs are gone. Oh, wow. I'm going to be real curious to see what happens in that area with the new construction, because what's happening down in the Carolinas, there's so much new construction that resales are struggling. They're sitting longer because people are opting to choose to new construction because why? They're offering incentives, right? They'll offer like money towards your closing costs. They'll do rate buy downs, things like that. So it's more affordable for people to buy the new construction right now. But be careful when you're buying new construction. I don't have to go there. Matt Law says bidding wars will eventually end. The economy and stock market is super bumpy. Glad we didn't buy in 24. Wait until next year in Florida. Yep. Thank you, Matt, for that. And I think in Florida, I think the prices are going to come down even more. I really do. That's my guess. How's the housing market in Rhode Island? That's a great question. And I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't really check on the housing market in Rhode Island, but I guess we can see right now. Still says here it's a seller's market. We can look at Redfin. How about that? Hold up, guys. Let me share this with you. This is something new that I'm doing. I'm just like, let's just look it up and see what's going on. All right. So this is from Redfin. This is for February 25 in Rhode Island. Median sales price is $487,400. So it had a price increase of 6.8%. See, they don't have inventory either. Look at the number of homes sold, 612. That's a decrease of 4.8%. And median days on market, 41. This is like a Jersey problem, honestly. And look at the fastest growing sales prices. Coventry, 19%. Portsmouth, 19. Pawtucket, 14.8. South Kingston, 10.3%. Providence, 10.2% increase. That's crazy. But think about it. They probably have like no housing available. It's such a tiny state too. Let me stop sharing that. So before okay, no, go ahead, Jen, put that comment up and then we'll move on. Mary, I purchased a house. My realtor was my eyes due to illness. I did finally see it in person. I do not like it at all. I've owned it 3 months now and I need to sell it. So Mary, I don't know what market you're in, but be careful with turning around and selling it now, because if your market is softening now, you may not recoup what you paid for. And then you got to remember the cost of what it's going to cost you money to sell it. So maybe just take some time, I know you say you don't like it, but give it time. It's only been 3 months. You got to give it some time to get used to it. But if you really hate it and say a year, then maybe consider it. But check what the market's like there too. I'm not sure where you are. So before we, I want to get to another article here. Where are we? Here we go. So this was Zillow's actual report. Now it says home values flatten as sellers outnumber buyers. Where is it? Sorry, guys. Okay, so the March 2025 market report, home values. So typically U.S. home value is $359,741. The typical monthly mortgage payment, assuming 20% down, is $1,855. Home values climbed month over month in 41 of the 50 largest metro areas. Gains were biggest in San Jose, Milwaukee, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, and Hartford. Home values fell on a monthly basis in 5 major metro areas. The largest monthly drops are in Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, San Antonio. There we go. Florida and Texas again. Home values are up from a year ago levels of 34. Home values are up from year ago levels in 34 of the 50 largest metro areas. Annual price gains are highest in San Jose, Cleveland, Providence, New York, and Hartford. Home values are down from year ago levels in 16 major metro areas. The largest drops were in Austin, 4.6, Tampa, 4.5, San Antonio, 2.7, Phoenix, 2.5, and Dallas, 2.4. New listings increased 31.5% month over month in March. Crazy. New listings increased by 8.5% this month compared to last year. However, new listings are still 19% lower than pre-pandemic levels. There were 19.3% more listings active in March compared to last year. Inventory levels are 24% lower than pre-pandemic levels for the month. Now, let's look at this, or price cuts. 23.5% of listings in March had a price cut. That's compared to 21.6% in February and 20.6% a year ago. So guys, it's climbing. Sellers they're not getting their prices anymore. So they're cutting their prices. 24.6% of homes sold above their 24.6% of homes sold above their list price last month, up 22.3% in January. 30.3% of homes sold above their list price last year. So that's just it. I just wanted to share that with you. That came directly from Zillow, whereas the other article I showed you was just that Fast Company article. What else do we have? The problem is when you say Florida, there are 2 Floridas south of the line from Daytona to Cedar Key and north of here. A lot more affordable housing in northern Florida and not as crazy as the south. Thank you for pointing that out. But as you saw, Miami saw a decrease as well. I think It is sporadic. I agree with you. It's more affordable in northern Florida, but those higher end markets, they are starting to soften. We're definitely seeing that shift happen. Got a lively chat again tonight. I love you guys. Blue Sky, I would be careful buying anything in Florida without knowing the longer term prices of insurance are going to be. That's a really great remark there, Blue Sky, because that's the reason why a lot of people are leaving Florida. I hate to say it. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful state. The weather's awesome, but with the hurricanes and the insurance, the HOAs, those crazy assessments on the condos, yeah, it's getting super expensive. But you're right. People do need to think about that, of the impact of the insurance rates. Hey, Ursula, thanks for being here. In Nassau, Long Island, prices are still high and multiple offers. Like a minimum 20 offers per home. That's crazy. Oh, speaking of New York, where is it? Okay. Have to share this one. I'm digressing. I'm all over the place, guys. I'm by myself tonight, so I'm just rolling with it. So I'm so glad, Ursula, you brought up New York, because guess what I found before I came on here tonight? This is insane. So we're going to block that. So New York State is creating a new rule. It's a 75-day rule coming as home buyers mad in New York State. So check this out. The governor of New York is proposing this new law. It says if you're trying to buy a home in New York State, it is insane. How many offers have you put in for homes and were told that you were not even close to winning because there were other offers that were so much over asking and they were in cash? The new law would ban private equity firms from buying homes and rental properties for the first 75 days it is on the market. So what does this mean? If you are a private equity firm, you cannot offer a cash offer until the house has been on the market for 75 days. If you are a regular buyer, you can put in an offer right away. The bad side might be for sellers, though. If you are selling a house and you're trying to get top dollar and do not care who buys it, you might be missing out on those massive private equity firms unless you wait the 75 days. If approved, it is something that has never been done before in the United States and would be an absolute game changer in real estate in New York State. Houses are selling like crazy still and for a lot of money. The numbers just came out for the housing market in Western New York, and according to the Buffalo Niagara Association of Realtors, it was the most expensive February of all time to buy a home in Western New York. The average sale price for the month of February was $271,864. That's a 12% increase from the previous February. The most expensive months that people close on houses are the months of June through September. So this is crazy, guys, that New York that they're proposing this. And I want to know your thoughts. How do you think that's going to affect sellers? This is going to be insane. I think it's a great idea. As a matter of fact, New Jersey was doing something like this, but for foreclosures. So when foreclosure came on the market, there was a waiting period for investors. They couldn't put an offer on it. They had to let the everyday, average Joe be able to buy the house in a foreclosure auction before the investor can come in and buy it. So I think this is good. It's I don't know. I think it could be a little rough for sellers if they're looking, those who want to get top dollar, but then you got to be careful too, because sometimes the investors don't always offer crazy amounts of money, right? So they may be offering cash, but if the rental markets aren't that great, if they're going to use this to rent the house out, rehab it and then rent it out, it may not be worth their while to go way over asking price. So I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts are. I want to know, what do you guys think about that? I think it's good in a way, because it is helping the buyers to have a fair chance to buy a house. So, okay, I'm in LA and it feels like inventory is up, but price cuts are just starting to show up. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Because you know what happens? My friend Jen Sylvester always says the market starts from the west and it goes across all the way to the East Coast. So maybe we'll eventually see some of that here. Hello, Sinister Spatula. Milwaukee area holding strong. My house value went up just a month ago when I bought. Well, that's good. You know, you bought you know you got a good house and you're in a good market, so that's good. Haywood County, North Carolina prices are still insane. Wow. What else? Not interested in new construction, very poor quality. I prefer homes built between 1985 and 2010. I'm looking in Volusia County, Florida. So, Ella, that's interesting. 1985 to 2010. So, what was it about the homes in the 80s that I'm just curious? Because I was actually showing a house today that was built in the 60s. And I got to tell you, those older homes, they are built really well. They are. I keep thinking about like the homes in the 90s. That's when we started having the McMansions. Some of them were okay, they're decent, but I just feel like the mid-century homes were like, I think they were like I wouldn't say the best built, but they're up there, right? But unless you go like even older, like you're going back to like the early 1900s. I mean, those homes are ridiculous. I mean, they're built really, like really, really well. Stop private equity and foreign entity from buying homes in the U.S. Yes, I agree with that. And I think New York doing this, I kudos on them for proposing that. And I do hope I do hope it passes. I do. Again, it's a slippery slope because, people want to sell their home for top dollar. But again, be careful what you wish for, right? It's all about giving the buyers a fair chance. Clark, it's almost like what HUD does for their homes. A certain number of days they allot for the homeowner occupiers and nonprofits put an offering before investors. Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right, Clark. And that's like something what they were doing in Jersey, but on the foreclosures. I guarantee you now that New York is doing this law, watch Governor Murphy in New Jersey. He's going to try and do the same thing. So I love the idea of keeping investors out for the first 75 days. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on, like give the little guy a chance, I mean, but I will tell you, but here in Bergen County, all of these crazy offers that, like what I just read, 200,000 over asking, those are not investors. Those are our people. And they're mostly people from the city that have a lot of cash and they are they'll pay anything for a house here. So we definitely don't have that problem here. Any hope? Central New Jersey, South Brunswick, very hard to find nice house. Even the asking price is 1.2 million. It is not ready to move a house. Gave up. Yeah, I know. What I'm saying for North Jersey is going to apply pretty much for almost the whole state because it's just insanity. It is. We have no houses. We just have no houses. For always, forever, for life. Hi, how are you? Yes, we need a fair chance because it's ridiculous. Yep. So let's see. That would be a nice thing. That would be a really cool thing if that takes off and then the rest of the country can follow. That would be lovely. Park City, Deer Valley homes are selling but cutting prices. All right, that's good. That gives me hope. See more price cuts. Yes, prices dropping in Arizona. So I was talking to a friend of mine who's an agent in Phoenix, and she did share with me there was big time softening there. I mean, look, at least it's more affordable, right? But I feel for those who just bought within the past couple of years that were looking to retire or just to move there just because they could during the pandemic. And now those who are looking to sell, yeah, it's kind of a little scary right now because you may not sell for what you paid for. Put in 2 offers this month, both $50K over asking in Sacramento. Both sellers went with cash offers instead. I'm sorry. Sometimes the cash offers, even if it's really, if it's a super high offer, sometimes they don't always stick. I'm just telling you. I've had this before. So, the good thing is that you put your offer in. And if, say, that offer backs out, that other one, you never know. You could be next in line. MH, how are you? Thanks for coming back. My 102-year-old house is built like a fortress. I'm sure it is. Nothing better than a 100-year-old home. What do you think of a home with underground oil tank that's active at 65 years old? Are you looking to buy the house with that active tank? Because I'd get rid of it. I'd convert that and get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but I don't know. It's just too risky. Clark, I just watched a short documentary about the McMansions built in New Jersey and how the ones in Bergen County have kept their equity and still growing. Yeah, yep. Yes, they have, Clark. And they're not stopping. Are new construction luxury houses, but not in a great neighborhood, worth it? Or do I just look for new construction in a brand new neighborhood? Here's what I'll tell you. If you buy new construction luxury, not in a great neighborhood, you're going to have the most expensive house on the block. And that's not always a good thing. If you're going to do new construction, I would try to get into like a brand new neighborhood. That's my opinion. My house is built in 1948. I found blueprints online. It's called the Burgess Small House. Living modern mid-century. I'm west of Cleveland, within walking distance of the lake. I'm selling it soon. That's awesome. That's cool. You found the blueprints online. I wonder what that looked like. Homes in North Florida insurance, much to mid 80 are attached to the slab with cut nails. I surveyed many destroyed 1970s, 80s Volusia County homes after Groundhog Day tornadoes, Port Orange, New Smyrna. All right. Did we got anything else? Okay. My 1876 childhood house could not be constructed today. Thankfully, it is protected within historic preservation areas. Now a bed and breakfast. That's cool. That is really cool. I love that. I think all states should adopt that, should do this so the average American has first dibs instead of investors. Yeah, I think it is a good idea. I really do. Man, if they pull that, if New York pulls that off, that's going to be huge. And I'm telling you, other states, they're going to follow it. I'm telling you, New Jersey's going to be next. Watch. Sage, finally caught alive. I just got pre-approved last week. I'm looking to move to Union County. Oh, good for you. If you need an agent, let me know. I could refer you to somebody that knows Union. Let me see. Oh my gosh, John, this is like, we got a lot. How's the market in Virginia? So depending on where, I did help a couple of people try to get connected to agents in Virginia, depending on what part. It's still Northern Virginia. Was it Northern Virginia or like Ruston area? It's limited inventory now, like the DC area, right outside DC. I know that there's speculation the prices were coming down there because, people are putting their houses up for sale. I mean, I haven't checked on that since I last talked about it a couple months ago when that whole viral post went out where somebody like blew up the map from Zillow showing all these coming soons that were coming on the market in Virginia. I mean, I don't think the Virginia market is crashing. I think it's still pretty strong. North Texas. It's definitely softening for sure. I can't tell you like offhand, but like by how much. But the people that I've referred to there and speaking with agents, it's slowing down. A lot of Texas is slowing down. Houses are definitely staying on the market a lot longer. We're seeing the price reductions, all that fun stuff. Adam, my house built in 89, survived countless hurricanes. Awesome. Can a buyer ask the seller to pay the buyer agent commission in this environment? Are you talking about here in Jersey? Because here's what I'm finding. Perfect example. We just got on our team, we got buyer's offer accepted, and they ended up, what was it? They ended up splitting. Did they split it? They split it. They ended up splitting the buyer's agent commission, right? So it was my teammate, she was representing the buyer, and the seller didn't want to pay for the whole commission. So the seller was in control. So he said, I'm going to pay for half and the buyer can pay for half. And our buyers are doing it. They're paying for half the commission. So we're starting to see that. I mean, as far as asking the seller to pay if you're here in the Northeast market, probably not. Probably not. So, but I will also say that we are still seeing that sellers will offer some type of buyer agent compensation to the buyer agent. So, because honestly, your house isn't really going to get shown if you're not offering to pay. Buyers are not going to want to see it. Not going to do it because they feel like they're not, well, I can't afford to pay the commission, so I'm not going to show the house. Now, even though we try to encourage those buyers to say, you know what, we can write it in the offer and see and ask. You can always ask. Doesn't mean the sellers are going to agree to it. But in the strong sellers market, I don't think you would see that. Buyer or seller's market in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hold on. Let me see. Market. What does the good old Redfins have to say? Yeah, same thing. Now, the data for Redfin, it's only showing for February. Hold up. Yep, you can see this here. Prices are up 6.4%. Median sales price $234,000, but the number of homes sold is up 14.3%. Days on market went up a little bit, so it's still a seller's market for sure. Yeah. So I hope that helped. Penny Lane, what's best now, rent or buy? That is up to you. You have to do the math and look at your finances and see what makes financial sense for you at this time. If you don't know where you want to live, you're not 100%, or if you're the type of person that can't commit for, say, 5 to 10 years, then I would say continue renting. But if you're looking at it financially, you got to look at everything at your financial situation. And the most important thing is you got to make sure you have your down payment saved. And your emergency fund and your closing cost. Elvis, great stuff. Real estate is local. Here in Massachusetts, a piece of wood sells for $1 million. Unless there's another catastrophic event nationwide, prices aren't coming down over here. Yes, Elvis. You all know my buddy Jen Sylvester. She's up in Massachusetts. She says the same thing to me. Although it's not as insane as Jersey, where you got people paying $100,000, $250,000 over asking price. But yeah, Northeast. It's the reason why most of the Northeast, we still have a limited inventory because we can't build the new construction like they can do down in the South. So that's why you see this, right? This is why the South it's shifting and it's softening because you have all these extra homes that are extra inventory that's entering the market. Not up here. Sage, do me a favor. That link in the description box, if you could fill that out, just so I can get your information and I'll get you somebody. Hot markets in Pennsylvania. Well, we know according to Charlton before, he said Hershey is seeing price reductions. Not really sure. Like, let's take a look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia only went up a little bit. Let me see. So their median sales price is $250,000, up 3.4%. It would really help if I shared the screen, wouldn't it? I'm so sorry. Your girl is slacking here. Hold up. So let's look at Philly. So Philly is $250,000. This is as of February. They didn't update it yet. So 3.4% year over year increase in price. Homes sold 873. That's a decrease of 7.1%. So I would say it's still median days on market 67, and it's only up 5 days year over year. So anything under, hold on a minute. Remember, anything under 6 months on the market, days on market, it's a seller's market, right? So once you hit that 6-month mark, we call that a balanced market. Anything above that, it's definitely it's a buyer's market. where you see a lot of Florida, especially in the condos, the condo markets, that they're upwards towards 7, 8 months on the market. So that's totally a strong buyer's market. Heather, what do I think of Delaware for retirement? I think Delaware, it's a great state for retirement. You've heard me mention it. I'm considering going there for retirement. They are building a lot. Now, if you go down towards the beaches of Delaware, there's tons of new construction going on. Your property taxes, they are probably one of the cheapest, but I will warn you, they are reassessing the property taxes now, like they are in every state. So all those home values now, everything's being reassessed, but it doesn't mean that the taxes are going to like skyrocket and you're not going to be paying like Jersey taxes, but they are going to increase. But as far as retirement goes, I would say, I mean, it's cost of living. I don't think it's that much different depending on if you're from the Northeast, if you're say from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York area, I don't think cost of living is really that much different than living up here. Where you're going to be saving is on your taxes, your property taxes. And also there's no income tax either, or sales tax. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I think it's good. No more space in Delaware, please. I don't know how they're still building. I'll be honest with you. I need my water. Hold on. I don't know how they're doing it. Because every time I do go down there to visit, I go down to Bethany Beach, and there's always a new development popping up. I just think they're buying up all the farmland in there. And what does concern me is the amount of people that are coming in, and they don't have enough services there. As you know, they don't have enough like hospitals, doctors, veterinarians, all those things. I mean, it's going to happen. It'll catch up, but it's just when, I wish they planned that better. Pennies in Northern Virginia, it's very expensive. Prices aren't coming down. Not surprised. New communities are popping up everywhere in upstate South Carolina. Track built, no yard, and premium prices. Yeah, let's see how long those prices last though, because I have a friend that she works down in like near Charleston, South Carolina. And she just posted the stats of the housing market down there recently on her Instagram. I was shocked. To see how long the homes are sitting on the market. But again, that's all because of that new construction that's coming in. The seller paid in Delaware. The seller paid my agent's fee. Awesome. Pennsylvania is great for retirees. PA doesn't tax pensions or Social Security. Thank you for that, Charlton. Appreciate it. The Maryland market is horrible. My house is on 5 acres, and yet you can take the metro into DC, but not a single offer in 30 plus days, even offered $40,000 in concessions. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Reevaluate your price. Talk to your realtor about your price. I tell everybody this all the time. If the house isn't moving, number one is the price. So reevaluate it, look at the comps, see if you are priced according to what the current market is. Shouldn't you pay your buyer agent just like you would pay for your own house inspector to ensure they're on your side, not conflicted between seller and buyer? That's a really good comment. I really like that. But traditionally, the way it's been, the seller pays the full commission, right? And it's split between the listing agent and the buyer agent. But it doesn't mean that buyer agent is working for the seller. They're still representing you. They're just getting paid, which this is why that whole lawsuit came to be, because they thought it was so unfair that they're paying for the buyer's real estate agent. But if you're working with the listing agent, if you say you don't have a real estate agent, and you go to the open house and you go up to the listing agent and say, "Hey, I want to buy the house. I want you to represent me." That's where you run into a problem, because that listing agent is not going to represent you. They're not. They're going to be working for the seller. So you're still unrepresented. But as far as bringing your own buyer's agent and the seller is still paying for that, like that's different. They're still working in your best interest, the buyer. But now, you have an 80% agent, we all know what an 80% agent is. If you have an 80% agent that's only in it for the money, in it for that commission, yeah, it could appear that they are going to be siding with the seller. They're going to try and convince you to move forward with the deal anyway, even if there's issues. So anyway, I hope I made sense. Sorry about that. What do you think of South Bound Brook, New Jersey, looking in the area to buy a house eventually? I don't know 100% about Bound Brook, to be honest with you. What I would do, if you're not familiar with the area, go into niche.com, niche.com. It gives you tons of data about any town, and you can look at the school districts, and there will also be like comments. You'll have, like firsthand comments from people that live in the town or send their kids to school there. It'll tell you like exactly what what their experience is like. Do I need a realtor to buy in New York? I would definitely bring on a realtor to help you for sure. You definitely want representation. Now, I know in New York, they are still paying the buyer's agents commissions too. Seeing home prices in the mid 200 is shocking to me. I don't think you can even get a condo in Massachusetts for that. Yeah, I know. It's shocking to me too. I can't even tell you the last time I saw 200,000 in my market. Just no. It's impossible. Compared to the nation, Tulsa is a steal, right? I think we all need to be going to Tulsa. Watch, and everyone's going to be buying there. That'll be the next hot market. Depending on where. Homes here in Carmel, California, $1 million to start. Yeah, Allegra, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. That's how Jersey's getting. And, it's coming to the point where the starter home in Jersey is going to be $1 million. Do you check the active housing state is for the city to make a decision to sell or not? I'm from Columbus. How do you check the active housing state? You want to see what the housing market is like? Then you can go on Zillow, but honestly, call in a real estate agent to have them do it. I'm not trying to push realtors on you, but the best way to know what the market is doing and what your home value is you got to call in a real estate agent, because they have access to the multiple listing service. They'll be able to look at all the active listings, what's under contract, and what is sold in the last 3 to 6 months. That's the best way to figure out how the market is doing and how to price your house. So thoughts on the Fed might dropping interest rates? Well, look, I get mixed feelings about that. So yeah, will it help affordability? It will, but it could still drive up prices, because then everybody's going to want to jump in the game. And then again, I always say it could also motivate sellers. If the rates are low enough, it could motivate sellers to want to move off of that 3% interest rate and pull all the equity that they have to go buy the next house. And then my whole theory is, if you sell the house, you get a lot of equity out of it. You have a larger down payment to put on the next house. Therefore, your mortgage won't be as large. And then you could stomach a 5% interest rate. So those are my thoughts, and I'm sticking with it. The average Massachusetts over asking price is around 40 to 50K. That's cheap. Wish I had that here. That's good. Columbus, Ohio. You were asking, about selling your house, right? Yeah, I would just, I would talk to a real estate agent. All right, what else we got? Maria, does cash have leverage in mid-rural PA when it comes to bidding and or paying for the buyer's agent? Yeah, cash always has leverage for sure. If you're going to be buying with cash and you're coming in and you're going to bid, with cash, or if you're going to be you're willing to pay for your agent, yeah, absolutely. There is zero healthcare, especially in Sussex County, Rehoboth Beach area. My patients are waiting 6 months for appointments. Yeah, precious. Yeah, that is true. I've heard that. I've heard of people waiting for a year or more just to see a primary care doctor. But I will tell you, that's not, Delaware is not the only state that's having this issue. You know, the other states where there's been an influx of people moving there, and I think I know not North Carolina, I think it was South Carolina, same issue. They're having the same issue. I don't think they're waiting as long as Delaware, but they're waiting. Yeah, but Delaware definitely needs to step it up and get more doctors down there. Perhaps I missed it early in the broadcast, but I'm curious as to why it is when the discussion topic is real estate, North Chicago is never covered. I'm struggling in this market now. Well, Navy, I'm sorry, I'm in Jersey, but I can, I can look. I can totally look for you because I'm solo tonight. Did I mention that? And I can do whatever the heck I want. So hold on, my friends. Are you struggling to buy or are you looking to sell? That is the question. Let's see what Zillow has. Okay. Here we go. Navy goat. Hold on one second. I'm not doing so good tonight here. Hold up. Instead of going to Redfin, we're going to take a look at Zillow. So Chicago key takeaways, home value is 303,595. 1 year value change 2.8%. So there was 5,769 homes for sale. This is as of the end of March. 1,938 new listings, and the median sale to list ratio is 0.987. So they're getting just under list price. 27.9% of sales over list, 57.3% of sales under list. Wow. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So 57% of listings were under. So that's a good sign. So if you're looking to buy, may not be that bad right now. Perhaps I missed. Okay. All right. Do you think sellers will be less willing to pay buyer agent commission in a stronger economy or a strong seller's market? In a strong seller's market, yeah, they'll be less apt to pay for the buyer agent. Like that example I gave before, if you missed it, we had buyers that got under contract, but the sellers didn't want to pay the full commission. They had to split it. They split it with the buyer. So the buyer's paying half, and the seller's paying half. So, yep, that's what happens in the seller's market. Buyer's market, keep this in mind, guys. Buyer's market, buyers have leverage. Buyers are in control. Seller's market, sellers are in control, right? Sellers can dictate all the things that they want on that contract. Buyer's market, you can say, I'm asking for, $10,000 in concessions to pay for my closing costs. I want a rate buy down. I want you to pay for my buyer's agent commission. That's where you have the leverage if it's a buyer's market. Pennsylvania County starting to reassess by 2027. All will have updated. Can't wait to see what your taxes are going to come up to, Charlton, when this market. Is a down payment of less than 10% too low? Depending where you are, depending your market. But no, it's not too low. I mean, you can put as little as 3.5%. When I say depending where you are, if you're in a strong seller's market, a competitive market, it's going to, not saying you can't do it, but you're going to be competing against others who are putting 20% or more down. And the seller is more likely going to choose those over the ones with the lower down payment. But if you're in another market where it's more of a buyer's market, it's fine. I mean, we sold our place in Delaware last year, and I think, what did he put down? I think he put down either 3.5% or 5%, the guy who bought our place. It was fine. It was totally fine. Blue Sky, I'm in Johns Island, South Carolina, just outside Charleston. They're averaging 20 days on the market here. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. How does an open house benefit the seller and the buyer? You want the truth? It really doesn't benefit the seller. Listen, There's two schools of thought on this. People will tell you, and yes, it is true. Open houses were for realtors to meet potential buyers, to meet clients. This is how I built my business when I started 10 years ago. Honest to God, everybody does it. It's not to say the house will never sell an open house. I've seen it. I've sold houses at open houses. People have walked in and that night they've made offers. It does happen. But the whole premise is that, yeah, it's there for realtors to meet potential clients. Now, for the buyers, it's an opportunity for them to see a house. If they're not working with a real estate agent, it's a great opportunity to walk in on the house and check it out, and they're not committing to a realtor yet. Okay? So what I like to do, I still like to do the open houses, or we block out like a few hours on a Sunday to do scheduled showings, right? To be scheduled through real estate agents to come preview the home. The reason being is when you're in a really competitive market, a crazy market where you're going to have potentially hundreds of people coming to see the house, it's easier for the seller to get as many bodies through the door at one time. And that's why the open house is beneficial to the seller, because you get them in, they like it, they want to make an offer, the offers will come in the days that follow. Whereas if you didn't do an open house and you're going to let it go, just showings be scheduled whenever, the seller's being inconvenienced. Like, every time the showing request comes in, like, okay, I got to clean up the house, get it organized, all tidy to leave to show the house. It gets annoying, it really does. So I do like that approach of having the open house to get as many bodies in at once to alleviate the stress for the seller. So hope that answered your question. Open houses get eyes on the property and also bring in more buyers to the listing agent, promote to the visiting buyers. Yes. Once you go to the open house, the listing agent can give you other listings that they represent to try to find the right house for you. Yeah, that is true. That is true. So, but yeah, so listen, there are benefits to either side for sure. But but number one, yeah, I mean, they were always there to help the realtor meet potential buyers, but there were benefits to it. I lived in Delaware for 3 years. There's not much to do. The jobs are mostly in education and the hospital. It's nice there, though. Yeah, it is nice. It's becoming very popular among retirees. Big time, especially down by the beaches, for sure. What's up with Zillow exactly? Hearing rumors. What rumors are you hearing? You hearing the ones that we talked about last week where they're not going to be posting listings anymore? Yeah. If you heard that, that's true. How about the market on Long Island or Bayside? So Bayside, I'm just going to assume it's going to be similar to Long Island. Long Island's crazy. It's just as crazy as Jersey. I have a referral partner out there that covers Long Island, and it's pretty competitive. It is not the price. PG County, Maryland is just collapsing. No one is getting approved for $800,000 mortgages. Virginia's next. Really? Is it because, do you have a lot of federal workers there? Is that the problem? I wonder. The Fed is not dropping interest rates. Also, the Fed's interest rates only affect short term. The 10-year bond is what wags the tail of the mortgage rates. Yes, you are correct. Thank you, Blue Sky. Do I suggest renting or buying after retirement? You know what? Again, you got to look at your situation and see what works best for you. It all depends on your affordability. Are you living on Social Security? What kind of income are you bringing in? If you can't, and if you don't have money, or if you don't have like a lot of equity coming out of if you have a house that you need to sell, you might want to consider renting. But, again, that's up to you. Any thoughts on buying a home in Houston? I've thought about leaving New York City for Texas. How's the market there? Houston, I think it's the same as the rest of Texas. I think the homes are coming down. I think the homes are coming down. The home prices are coming down. So I like the Zillow report. Oh, look at this. I was right. Home prices are coming down in Houston. So here we go. Where do we go? Yep. 0.9% year over year. So average price, the average price is 267,854, down 0.9%. So it's starting to come down a little bit. Look, it says right here 68.7% of sales under list price. So wow, that's a lot. So if you want to buy in Houston, I would say now's the time. I would jump on that. Any idea of how much? Any idea how much off the going mortgage rate I might get if I put something down between 40 and 50% on a house? That I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not a mortgage person, not a mortgage lender. Got to talk to a mortgage lender about that. I really don't know. Cash or credit or loan, which of the options is the right choice to purchase a house? That, Your Honor, that is all up to you. You got to do the math. You got to run your own numbers and figure that one out. I mean, obviously cash is king. If you're in a competitive market and you have the cash to buy, that'll win you the house. But again, it's all up to you. Contacted FEMA for a property in Florida. They said it's in the flood zone A, yet the listing says it was recently changed to X. What's up with that? Wouldn't FEMA have the latest info? Yeah, you know what? They would. So it all depends. If it says in the listing it was changed to X, I don't know. I would confirm. I would check with that agent and see where did they pull their information from. They could have gotten that information from the homeowner. It's possible the homeowner was advised that it was going to be changed, but FEMA didn't change it yet. And this just popped in my head because this happened to a friend of mine in my town where her street is in a flood zone and her part of the street was considered part of the flood zone, but then it changed several years ago, but it took a while to update the map. So that could be why, but you can talk to the listing agent to find out what the deal is. FEMA may have told them that it was going to be changed. Doubt this President Congress won't, but we need more national legislation limiting the number of homes one person can own. The problem with affordability is still the Airbnb vacations homes galore. I don't know if I agree with that right now, St. Louis, to be honest with you. The Airbnb market it's been crashing. It's been coming down. And, listen, speaking from experience, I bought a vacation home and I don't get the rentals like I used to. Why? Because of all the fees. Airbnb and Vrbo, they charge a lot of fees. So now people are going back to the hotels because it's just cheaper that way. So I don't think it's because people bought up the Airbnb. There was a lot of private equity investors that bought a lot of properties for rentals, for long-term rentals, not vacation rentals, but limiting the number of homes one person can own, I don't agree with that either. I like the idea of what New York is doing, where they're proposing that an investor has to wait 75 days before buying a home to give the average American a chance to purchase that home. That I like that. I like that idea, but I don't agree with. Sorry, I don't agree with that. Can you sign a buyer agreement for just to show that one house? You can, and I recommend you do that. If you're meeting the agent for the first time and you don't know how this is going to go down, do a one-time showing. And you can do it for a couple of houses if you want. I just talked to a buyer last week, and we agreed on that for the first few showings, we're just going to do just a one-time showing for that particular house, and we'll see. And then I said, and then if you like me, we can continue to date. We'll make it official, and we can sign like a 3 or 6 month contract, whatever they want to do. So yeah, absolutely. You can do that. Between price, taxes, and insurance in Florida, many are having serious buyer's remorse. Yes. That's what I hear too. And a lot of them are coming back up to Jersey. 10%, wouldn't you need PMI? Well, for 10% down, yes. Yes, to private and mortgage insurance, absolutely. Anything below 20%, you were going to pay PMI. I read that you can do a pre-inspection, and if all comes back okay, then waive inspections to make your offer more appealing. Do you recommend this in a seller's market like New Jersey? So you're saying do a pre-inspection to make your offer. So you're saying do a pre-inspection on the house you're going to buy? So you're going to pay for an inspector to go in before you buy the house? I'm not sure how that would work. Or are you talking about pre-inspection if you're on the seller side? Yeah, I'm sorry, Krista. I need you to elaborate on that one. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if you're the buyer doing a pre-inspection, I don't know about that. I've never heard of that, honestly. And so if you're going to spend a few $100s on a pre-inspection and you go in knowing what you have, like you've already done the inspection, I'm trying to understand this, Krista. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so here in New Jersey, I'm just thinking New Jersey process. So if you buy a house in New Jersey, typically the home inspection cannot be done until we're under contract. Once you've completed the attorney review process. In some cases, once your offer is accepted, you get into attorney review. Sometimes they will do the home inspection during the attorney review period. This way, it saves time for the buyer and the seller, that if anything major comes up, they can walk away, and then the seller doesn't lose that much time taking the house off the market. But to do a pre-inspection before you buy it, I just don't know how that would be possible to do that, because you have to get permission from the seller to bring an inspector in. How long does it take for a grant to get approved for down payment assistance on a first-time home buyer? I'm not 100%. I don't think it takes that long. As long as you got to work with a lender that is familiar, that does those programs. I don't think it takes that long to get approved. But don't quote me that. I'm not 100%. Would you get out of Seattle? I don't know. I don't live there. Florida is a double yikes. Yeah. Northeastern Ohio is hot. Yeah, Melanie, thanks for being here. It's because it's so affordable. That's why people are just flocking to wherever the affordable homes are. As a matter of fact, I saw a headline saying that the Midwest is now going to become like the hot market, because it's like the last frontier of affordable homes in this country. It's insane. Test pilot, know your location. My property goes up 10% annually. Are you talking about value or insurance? Airbnb, you have to feed the dog, clean the yard, do the dishes and the laundry. Oh, and don't forget to vacuum before you leave. It's true, MH. It is. It's very true. That's why people don't do it anymore. Southwest Michigan. I'm so sorry, guys. Excuse me. All right, hold up, guys. Housing. Oh, interesting. You ready for this one? Southwest, hold up, close that out. Southwest Michigan housing market flipped in February. It's reporting that the local housing market sales flipped from a robust start in January. It's showing that the average selling price for houses in February dropped 1.5% from January. The year started with an elevated inventory. In February, the inventory increased 18%. Holy cow. Looks like it might be flipping to a buyer's market. I don't know. That's what we got. Can you do an episode on pro tips, like in Google Maps? If you click satellite view, it will show you where all the buildings are around, like septic treatment plants. You know, Blue Sky, that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. I think I would do that. And you know what? Maybe I'll do that with my buddy Jen Sylvester because she's so tech savvy. She knows all those fun things. So maybe I'll do that with her. Will the SALT deduction come back? I don't know. I really don't know, Eddie. Why would a seller agree to a pre-inspection? What's in it for them in the seller's market? Yeah, I know. Well, the only thing is they're going to go in knowing they're going to, you're going in and you're making an offer based on the defects, but in a seller's market, Cheryl, in the seller's market, sellers aren't going to really want to deal with anything because if they have 16 offers on the table and if somebody's saying, I'm going to only look at major issues like structure, environmental, mechanical, or you have people that waive the inspections, you're right. Why would you, I don't understand this pre-inspection thing. I'm so sorry about that. I forget who asked that question, but is New Jersey bidding wars cooling off? Get outbid by 150 to 200 since January has been soul crushing. I'm so sorry, my Android. And no, they're not cooling off. They're not. I hate to say it. So back to North Chicago. It's an absolute seller's market. Sellers and realtors are capitalizing, almost requiring buyers authorize as is appraisal gap waiver, waive inspection, and at least 2% over. Thank you for that update. I appreciate that. Midwest will be hot until they have to go through winter. But you know what I mean? I bet people won't care because they're getting a cheap house. So, hello, Stephanie. Thanks for being here. Found an interesting house, but seller agent isn't taking our agent's call. Our agent thinks seller agent is double dealing. Any strategies to get through? If they're not, I hate to sound like a Karen, but I will. If they're not answering your call, they're not answering your agent's call, your agent needs to call their broker. They have to. That's what I would do. To say, they're not calling me back. I have an interested party that wants to make an offer. That would the next best thing. It's like calling their parents. Yeah, it's getting them in trouble. How can one get rid of PMI, or is it possible? So if you have an FHA loan, you cannot get rid of PMI. It's on for the life of the loan. If you have a conventional loan, I think it's like it could come off after like 7 to 10 years when you have 20% equity in your property. So it's average about like 7 to 10 years, but that's only if you have a conventional loan, not an FHA. FHA is on for the life. So, after all contingencies are passed, how common is it for buyers to ask the seller if they're interested in leaving furniture or art? It's pretty common. A lot of sellers will want to sell you the furniture. They do that. And that's typically a separate transaction. They don't usually include that on the real estate contract. But you can ask. Absolutely, you can ask. Yeah. So, okay. Cameron's currently in escrow. Congratulations. You got 6.3%. That's awesome. Good for you. All right, Jen, we'll do a couple of more. Hello, Ivy Roses. It's been a while. We paid for our own inspector as sellers, so we know in advance any issues. We have none. We are not mentioning to anyone. We've already done this. We keep that card hidden. We are in Bergen. So I had clients, Ivy, that did that. They didn't even tell me that they did the pre-inspection. When we put the house on the market, they did it all beforehand. I had no idea. Then when the actual home inspection happened, when after we were under contract and the report came back, the seller told me, she's like, yeah, by the way, we had our own pre-inspection done and everything, everything was pretty much in line with what the buyer's inspector said. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I watched a replay, but any update in New Jersey housing market, specifically Cherry Hill and Marlton? I hear the prices going down everywhere, but I don't see it happening in those areas in Jersey. And you're right. You're not. Jersey is still really hot. Go watch the replay and you'll see the article I shared. It's specifically about Bergen County, New Jersey, but all over New Jersey. It's just insane. Nidus Tech Talk just closed on our first house, 6.4 FHA. Congratulations. Thanks for sharing that. So you guys, this has been fun. There's been over 400 of you on here tonight. Where the heck are y'all coming from? This is amazing. We have 432 people on here right now. This is insane. This is insane. I can't thank you guys enough for taking time out on a Monday to hang out with me. And thank you, my little producer back there with the sound effects. So guys, if you need a referral for a real estate agent in your market, this is the link. It's down below in the description box. Please click it. Fill out the forms. Now, there is a reason why I have forms there, because I need detailed information about what you're looking for, if you're pre-approved, what's your budget, all the things. I need to have that information. I need you to get specific with me. Tell me the towns. Don't say, don't just say, I'm looking in North Carolina, or I'm looking in California. I need specifics as to where, because those are pretty large states. It helps me narrow down, which agent covers the area that you're looking for. So please make sure you fill out all that information. So you guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. This has been amazing. Holy cow, it's like 400 and something people. Oh my God. Anyway, so appreciate you all being here. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And listen, keep the faith. If you're out, you're looking for a house and you're feeling frustrated, the right house will come along. Just keep pushing. It'll happen. All right, you guys, you all have an amazing week. I will see you all next Monday.